What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another article reaction video, and we are going to be reacting to every NBA team's 2020 free agency sales pitch by Bleacher Report. So like always, I will leave a link to the article in the description below if you want to check this out for yourself. So I believe the free agency period is going to be like October 20th, or it might not be till like November 1st, but it's somewhere around then. And it's going to be a pretty lackluster free agency, unfortunately, due to AD probably re-signing with the Lakers. DeRozan, Drummond, they're going to opt in. Montrezl Harrell could switch teams, but that might be the biggest guy on the market. Then you have like Hassan Whiteside. Fred VanVleet could switch teams as well. But obviously the draft, and if any trades go down, I don't know if any players are going to get traded this offseason or any big names because of how just messed up this season is. But we're still going to go through this with an open mind and see what maybe these are. So the best sell pitches for all 30 follow. Let's do it. All right, let's get into this. So Atlanta Hawks, we have a Steph Curry, Steve Nash hybrid who loves to pass and will command your defense attention. Okay, he does like to pass. He's a very good passer, but he also likes to shoot it. But it's not hard to see why a free agent might want to play with Trae Young. I think Victor Oladipo would be a great fit in 2021 if they get healthy. Oladipo playing alongside Trae because he can complement him on defense. I just don't think Oladipo could leave Indiana unless something happens this offseason. Then Oladipo could be somebody on the market. But yeah, Oladipo, he's still going to be probably rusty for these next, whenever the season starts up on the 31st. But it's going to be exciting to see him. He'll have a lot more time recovered. And hopefully we get like kind of older Oladipo for the playoffs. But we'll see. I don't know why I'm talking about Oladipo that much. But yeah, I don't know if the Hawks are really going to get anybody big in this offseason that isn't their first round draft pick. But moving on, Boston here. Feel free to look back at our past, which includes 17 NBA championships, or forward at a future that includes Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. We have both directions covered just fine. Very true. Very true. Nothing to say about that. I think they're going to definitely want to target a center / big men. I don't think they're going to look to move Gordon Hayward in the offseason unless something comes up, but I doubt it just because Hayward will be in the final year of his contract next year, as he'll most likely opt into his $34 million player option. So that is Boston. Brooklyn, having KD and Kyrie makes us instant title contenders, and as a bonus, they seem to enjoy philosophical decisions. But yeah, we're going to see if Brooklyn, maybe if they want to make a move and try to offer Karis LeVert. They don't have their first round pick this year, but let's say Karis LeVert. I don't even know. Like, I was gonna say, what can you offer for Bradley Beal? But you might have to offer Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, and a future first or two, and I just don't see them doing that. Maybe they would even ask for Dinwiddie, Beal, and Allen. That's probably a lot, but I don't know. I don't think they're gonna get Beal this offseason. I don't know if they have the assets to do so, unless Beal comes out, requests a trade, Washington loses all leverage, and then they may have to accept something kind of a little bit lesser than what they could have. But I think they're definitely going to try to get that third star this offseason. Don't know who that could be, but we'll see. Charlotte, you can hang around Michael Jordan. Not good enough. We'll have 2 solid youngish guards and some moderately intriguing youngsters. Okay, it's kind of funny. But Charlotte, I think they're another team that isn't going to make a big splash. I think the perfect dream scenario for them is, one, winning the lottery, yes, but if not, either ending up with James Wiseman or Onyeka Okongwu. Edwards would be an interesting fit with this team. I don't think Graham and Rozier should hold you back from drafting a potential future star guard. Either it's LaMelo or Edwards. I still think you go with one of them, then you could look to move another. Graham is somebody that doesn't need to really shoot the ball. He's a good three-point shooter, but he's also a fantastic passer. Rozier kind of needs the ball in his hands a little bit more, and then I don't really know if Miles Bridges is the answer there at the 3, but I think they do have a glaring hole at center with also PJ Washington at the 4, so then they kind of need that big of Onyeka Okongwu or James Wiseman. I think that's the perfect dream scenario for the Hornets this offseason. We'll see what happens. I don't really see them getting anybody in free agency. Chicago, our roster is built better than our record suggests. We promise. That is very true. I think the biggest thing they need to do this offseason is probably go in a different coaching direction. There's a lot of good coaches on the market. Obviously, they're not bringing back Tom Thibodeau, but I think Kenny Atkinson would be beautiful for this team. You saw how well he developed the youngsters in Brooklyn with Jared Allen and D'Angelo Russell and Karis LeVert when he was healthy. And then you had Spencer Dinwiddie there as well. And I think Chicago would desperately need that from Markkanen, Carter Jr. Even Levine could still use some development on the defensive side of the ball, and Kobe White, and whoever their top 10 draft pick is going to be this offseason as well. So I think they really should go hard after Kenny Atkinson. Maybe they'll go in-house. Maybe they're probably going to keep Jim Boylan. I feel like, I don't know, they could definitely fire Jim Boylan in the offseason, but we'll see. But I think, yeah, the big thing for them, they're going to draft somebody in the top 10. Probably not do anything free in free agency, as Otto Porter's probably going to opt in, limits their cap space. But fire Jim Boylan and get that new coach to hopefully develop this team and make the playoffs in 2021. Cleveland, Colin Sexton has all-star potential, and there's a job opening to be his co-pilot. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess not really. I mean, they drafted Garland last year. They have Kevin Love and Drummond. Like kind of Charlotte, I don't think either one of those two players should kind of hold you back from drafting that guy you think could be a star. Like, say Cleveland loves Obi Toppin. They think he's the next Amari Stoudemire who could shoot. You draft him, even if you have Kevin Love there. But I'm just saying that's if Cleveland thinks that. If James Wiseman's on the board and maybe Edwards and Ball or not, you draft Drummond. And I think even if LaMelo's on the board, I think you still draft LaMelo. Then you figure it out. Then you're like, all right, can Garland run the second unit? And if Sexton and Ball can't coexist, you trade one that you don't think can fit with the other, or the kind of lesser valuable piece. So I think you draft best player available. You're probably not going to do anything in free agency. Just do that, and then I think they signed Jack Vaughn. No, that's the Nets. They have JB Bickerstaff, right? I think they gave him an extension, so he's their coach next year. Dallas, have you watched Luka play basketball? Yes, but they need to make something. I think they still have cap space for 2021. That's the year, because Luka, in 2021, that'll be the 2017 free agency. Yeah, 2022, Luka is going to be eligible for that rookie max extension. You know he's getting 30 whatever plus mil a year, so they're going to have to make that splash next offseason or this offseason. I don't think they're getting an Anthony Davis. I don't think they're trading for a star, limit their not very valuable draft picks. They don't have many young assets outside Luka and like Jalen Brunson. So 2021 free agency is what they're saving up for. I don't think they're going to make anything this offseason. Either it's Kawhi Leonard, either it's Giannis Antetokounmpo, either it's Victor Oladipo, either it's, I don't know, Rudy Gobert. Someone in 2021, they need to, even if it's an overpay, just get somebody on contract who can at least match with other deals before you limit yourself paying somebody else $30 million a year, and they can have that big three. It'd be cool if it's a European player, because a Euro big three would be pretty cool. Denver, have you watched Nikola Jokic play basketball? I think they're definitely going to be in an intriguing place. Now, I mean, Grant's opting out. I think that's been reported. Jeremy Grant's opting out. Paul Millsap is going to be an unrestricted free agent. I saw something like, what would, like, honestly, if Denver was willing to take Blake Griffin off the Pistons' hands for free, would they do that? And I was like, maybe, but I don't think they do that. I really don't think so. I think they're going to look for someone that fits the timeline with Jokic, who's 25, 26, Murray, who's 23, 22, 24, whatever he is. They're both below 26, so they're going to kind of want somebody in that time frame. It would be cool. I kind of thought Holiday would have been a nice trade in the middle of the year with Gary Harris, but he's also, going to be 30, and I think his price was a little bit too high, so I do think they need that kind of main 20-point per game scorer. We'll see. Bradley Beal would have been perfect. And I think if Michael Porter Jr.'s value is still high, or if it's high, you still move him. Because I think what Bradley Beal is now, Michael Porter Jr. might never get to. So if that could get it done, you do it. But I don't know if Washington would. For Detroit, we're the first team that gave you a real shot. Let's keep building what we started. I don't know if that's talking about Christian Wood. But yeah, what does this say? Wood played. Okay, yeah. So it's about Wood. But you bring back Christian Wood. I know, unless Derrick Rose doesn't want to trade and you want to respect him because he's been good for you and he's been a professional, and you want to make him happy and have a good team culture and representation to the public. But if not Chris Paul, Derrick Rose, I don't know why I said Chris Paul, is okay with getting traded, I think you 100% trade him. One, you're going to get a good assets for him. He was great this year. He might win 6th man of the year. I think he will. Actually, no, I think Schroeder might. So he might come in top 3 in that. I think you can get a top 20 pick. Maybe you'll get a future pick, but you could definitely get a first-round pick for Derrick Rose. Maybe the Lakers would give you a first and Kuzma. Who knows? Maybe that's too much, but honestly, that's not crazy. So you can get a pretty good haul for Rose. You tank next year. You don't tank, but you're just going to be bad next year. It's going to be a great 2021 free agency class. You might have 2 first-round picks. You might have 1. Either way, I think you just be bad next year. You develop your top 10 pick this year. Let's say you trade Derrick Rose for pick 22 to whoever it is. You draft that player, and you build around those guys, Dubois, Luke Kennard, and then if you can somehow figure out a Blake Griffin trade, yeah, 100% do it. Even if you just get back a 2075 second round pick, or if you get back enough money to buy a copy machine, I think you do it. But I think you just build around Wood, Kennard, Doumbouya, third pick this year, and hopefully whoever they can move Rose for. I think that's what they should do. Moving over to Golden State, we'll be back. Yep. So pretty much, I don't know. I don't know who's a good fit for them. If it's going to be Wiseman, if it's going to be a Okongwu, is it going to be Anthony Edwards? Is it going to be Killian Hayes? I don't think it'll be LaMelo Ball. But you draft your guy. I think they still have the Iggy like $16 million trade exception, so you could still use that. I don't think any team would take on Wiggins or Draymond. I think you're kind of stuck with those guys. So maybe you can use the trade exception to get like somebody making 10 mil, put him off the bench, or just one of those centers, like a Tristan Thompson type player. He's obviously a free agent, but you know, somebody like that where you don't need to spend a top 10 draft pick on someone you just want out there to rim protect and get rebounds. Maybe you value more of a versatile wing like an Anthony Edwards in the draft than drafting James Wiseman, who you view just kind of being in the inside, getting offensive rebounds and kind of rim protecting a little bit. Houston, we have one of the greatest offensive players of all time. His mere presence means loads of open threes for you. I think was it Zach Lowe is one of his crazy predictions this year where like Harden trade talks would come up, and they haven't. I mean, Russ has been great, and since they kind of went small ball, it's been really good for them. But I'm really nervous. Another disappointing ending in the playoffs could spark something, but I think Russ and Harden, like, they're very close. I think they'll keep each other intact, and they realize like not many teams can really give up assets for James Harden, and is it really going to be a better situation than where you are now? Like, even if Dallas was willing to give you, I don't know. I don't even know. I was gonna say like Jalen Brunson and 6 first-round picks, but there's like I don't know what team that would make sense for James Harden to want to go to. And this is even if you request a trade, but I don't even think he would. The Rockets do have a chance of making it to the finals. Definitely, they could beat the Lakers. Not saying they'll be the favorite. I'm not saying they will, but they could. There is a chance. Or the Clippers. But they're not going to, obviously. They never have cap space. They never have draft capital. It's been pretty much the same thing for the last, like, 5 years. Pacers, we're on the verge of a breakthrough, and every member of our core is 28 or younger. Yeah, we're going to have to figure out. I don't think they'll move Turner or Sabonis in this offseason. I think they're going to try to get a fully healthy team next year. We'll see if Jeremy Lamb comes back. But with Brogdon, Oladipo, Sabonis, Warren, Turner from the start, see what they can do. They don't have their first-round pick this year, which is kind of rough. But I think they will have a little wiggle room in cap space, especially with an exception they'll be able to use in free agency. We'll see who they can go after. They probably need another backup big. I mean, you have Turner. If you think Goga Bitadze could be something, maybe you need another backup 4, because I don't think TJ Leaf or Jakar Sampson can really cut it out there. So you can get somebody like that because you have Aaron Holiday, who's a great backup point guard. Justin Holiday's a pretty good backup too as well. We'll see if Lamb comes back, like I said. Clippers, when you have one of the greatest player performers in league history, join us and you'll compete for titles. They don't have their first round pick. I think the main thing for them this offseason is to try to bring back both Montrezl Harrell and Marcus Morris. It's depending on what Harrell's value is. I'm sure they don't want to overpay and give him $25 million a year, or they might not even want to give him $18 million a year, but we'll see who they decide on, Harrell or Morris. Will be interesting to see, but that's pretty much going to be their, I think, main thing in this offseason. The Lakers, LeBron and AD will be on the team for the foreseeable future. Oh, and we're the LA Lakers. I think the stuff they could do, they could move their first round pick for a player before they'll be able to take on cap space before free agency, which is great because if AD opts out and they give him an extension, or even if he opts in, they'll have a little bit of wiggle room to maybe take on some salary. And then, obviously, we know Danny Green will be a free agent next year. We'll see if they maybe use Kuzma in their first-round pick to get somebody like a good wing, like maybe Derrick Rose, like I said. So that's, I think, something they'll be looking to do, definitely to improve their team that way. And like Dwight Howard will be an unrestricted free agent, which I believe they don't have bird rights on, so maybe they want to use that cap to use him with one of their exceptions. Memphis Grizzlies, the average age of the Grizzlies is 22.8. We're the youngest team in the NBA. John Triple J are 20 years old. Clark is 23, and we're already in the pole position for the 8th seed in the West. We might have the most exciting young core in the league. Very good argument there, or just kind of statement there. They have their coach in Taylor Jenkins. They don't have their first-round pick here. I think they're going to just look to add maybe complementary players, but still kind of keep some flexibility open in 2021. with maybe a chance to sign somebody. It's hard to bring somebody to Memphis, or maybe just use their assets to do so. They have their first round pick in 2021. Maybe there's a star on the market and they're willing to give up Brandon Clark in a deal. You never know. And DeAnthony Melton. They have a great young core. Dylan Brooks as well. And then obviously you have Ja and Triple J. You have Valanciunas. They're going to be contending next year. I don't think they want to get worse. I thought maybe in the beginning of the year they could go after Evan Fournier, but kind of with the emergence of Dylan Brooks, it really wouldn't make a lot of sense. So that is what they're going to be doing. Miami. You already know about the culture. Let's talk stars. I don't think, unless they think they have a shot at bringing in Anthony Davis, they won't bring back. Or no, I think they could still go after 80. But in 2021, they'll have to get a little weird with it because Bam Adebayo will be a restricted free agent. But then they'll have, I know I keep saying it, but a little bit of wiggle room to go out and get a star. And you know they're going to try to attract Giannis or Kawhi Leonard. So we'll see what happens then, or Paul George. Milwaukee, how would you like to play with a hybrid of Kareem, Shaq, and LeBron? Milwaukee really can't do much in free agency this offseason or trading. We thought they were going to trade their first round pick at the deadline for maybe Marcus Morris or somebody like that. Never happened. They can still trade it on draft night, so we'll see if that happens. And we'll see. The main thing for them, though, is to get Giannis to agree to the Supermax. Minnesota, let's stay on this path together. So what they need to do is definitely need a power forward that can play next to Cat. I don't think it's Obi Toppin due to both of them not being great defenders. So I don't know if that's a trade market or they're going to look for something else. They will have a top 10 pick, and they might not have their first round pick next year, so they kind of need to use it wisely this year. And is that going to be a Killian Hayes? Is that going to be Tyrese Halliburton? Is that going to be an Anthony Edwards? It all depends on where they end up in the lottery. So we'll have to wait and see on that. They won't have much cap space due to Cat and D'Lo making a lot of money. They might have a little bit to maybe go out and try to get a power forward. Maybe Montrezl Harrell would be a great fit next to Cat. Who knows? Like a high motor guy. He'll play defense. Obviously, he can't space the floor. But on offense, Cat can be more like the power forward who can space out. And Harrell can be inside, definitely. But they really just need to hit on this draft pick. They'll probably look to bring back Beasley and Hernan Gomez. But, yeah, Culver didn't look great his rookie year. You definitely still want to develop him. But they need that power forward that can play next to Cat. They need it for pretty much his time in 2015 since being drafted to them. Pels, we have a lot more. We're a lot more than Zion Williamson. He's not even the best player on the team. It's probably Brandon Ingram, and if you want to say Drew Holiday's even better than Zion as well. But Zion is obviously 20 years old, and they will have a lottery pick if they don't make the playoffs. They will have, I think, some cap space. They should, not a lot, but they would. But Brandon Ingram, that's going to take up most of it because he will be getting the max extension this offseason. I don't think they would test the Lonzo Ball trade market just because he'll be a free agent in 2021, and maybe they just don't think he's very valuable for his asking price of, who knows, it could be $20 million. Maybe they'd rather just draft his replacement in the lottery, being it's Kyra Lewis, it's, I don't know, Nico Mannion. I'm just throwing out names here, RJ Hampton. But they'll definitely have to get maybe just a little creative this offseason. I'm sure they want to bring back Derek Favors. He was really good for them when he was healthy, but we'll have to wait and see for that. Knicks. Help us bring basketball glory back to MSG. I think the main thing they really can do this offseason is just hit on your draft picks. Draft LaMelo. That's, I think, the guy they need the most. If not, I think Cole Anthony might be the second best guy for this team. And then you'll have or maybe it's Kyra Lewis. Yeah, definitely. But then they also have a later first round pick via the Clippers. Maybe they can package that. And Dallas, maybe a future pick to move up again. I don't know. Or if they end up getting the 6th pick in the lottery or the 5th pick, they could try to go up and try to trade for the number 1 to get LaMelo. Because if there was a draft where the number 1 pick will probably be available, it's this draft. So that could definitely happen. I think LaMelo, that's it. That's all the Knicks need to do is just find a way to get LaMelo Ball this offseason. OKC, with or without CP3, we're on the way up. I think there's a chance they could have their first round pick in this draft. It all depends, I think, on where Philly ends up at the end of the season. So if they have their first round pick, nice. If they don't, try to maybe get it. I still think you look to move Chris Paul. You didn't move Gallo at the deadline. I thought they should have, but they didn't. Even if you can move Steven Adams, I think you should. You build around Shea as much as you can, and I think you need some more young talent. So I think you need a draft pick. Maybe you could buy your way into the early second if you like a guy that falls into the second. Who knows? But I mean, with Chris Paul next year, you're still probably to contend. This is still a very well-constructed roster, and they'll probably get a better small forward than what they had this year, somehow, either in the draft or free agency. But I think if you can move Paul, you can. If you can't, just compete next year again. Orlando, we have Disney World. They need offense. Get offense in this offseason. They're going to have, the 16th or 17th pick in the draft. target an Aaron Nesmith, target maybe a Sadiq Bey, a Tyler Bey, get a scoring wing off the bench. Chuma Okeke, we'll see how he could play next year. He was obviously their 15th overall or whatever, 16th overall pick out of Auburn last year. Look to bring back Evan Fournier. I think he'll opt in and be a 2021 free agent, so you really won't have to worry about that. And then keep developing faults. Try to maybe, honestly, let maybe Aaron Gordon test the trade market. Look at what you can get for him. If you can still pull off that Kelly Oubre trade, I think you do it. I think Jonathan Isaac's best suited as a 4, and then you still try to maybe develop Mo Bamba. Philly, join the process. What you do is you do not trade, I think, Embiid or Simmons in this offseason. I mean, I think you do what you can to get Chris Paul on this team. I think if this doesn't go the way they want it to, I think you call up OKC. You go, we'll give you 2 first-round picks, Zaire Smith and Al Horford for Chris Paul. I'm just throwing out random stuff. Obviously, that wouldn't be close to probably what it would end up being. I don't even know if OKC, once you say Al Horford, they would just hang up. But I think you don't panic. Unless one of these guys wants out, I don't think you trade either one of them. I think you still try to contend as long as these 2 players on the team. Tobias Harris is still kind of a good third piece on this squad. And then obviously they Matisse Thybulle. They might have a first-round pick in this draft. We'll have to wait and see. But just don't blow it up. Don't feed into social media, or because I feel like social media, just the media, can really persuade a team to maybe trade someone. I just don't think you buy into that. I still think you could win with these 2 guys right now, and they're still very young. If I were to decide which one to trade, I would trade Embiid over Simmons, but don't even think of that yet. Just try to get better this offseason without giving up your 2 best players, or one of your 2 best players. Phoenix, our core is already good. Help us get over the top. They'll have a lottery pick in this draft, depending on where it is. Maybe they could still make the playoffs. Who knows? But it's looking like they would have a lottery pick. I don't think they're going to end up making the playoffs. I think you could go point guard. You definitely need a power forward if you're not going to bring back Dario Saric to play next to Aiden. I don't know if that could be Obi Toppin. I would love, not LaMelo, but I would really like Cole Anthony or Kyra Lewis, or maybe even RJ Hampton or Killian Hayes, or even Halliburton. There's a lot of good guards in the top end of this draft. Not all of them are going to be good, but if you hit on that guard, I think you would have a very good core with Booker, that guard, Aiden, and then you would have Cam Johnson and Kelly Oubre for the next 5 or so years, and just try to be that playoff team. You haven't made the playoffs in a decade. Just got to be one. Portland, Damian Lillard is an offensive powerhouse and one of the game's most loyal and effective leaders. You need wing help. I think honestly it'd be best with the Blazers if they don't make the playoffs. An Aaron Nesmith, a Tyler Bey, a Sadiq Bey, any one of these wings, a Josh Green that they could end up drafting. I think you look to draft a wing here because you have your backcourt, Anthony Simons, Gary Trent. They could be, some backup pieces. They'll get Zach Collins, Nurkic back. I don't know if they're going to look to bring back Whiteside because I don't know if Whiteside's going to want to be a backup next year. But I think you try to get some wing help, definitely. And I don't think Ariza, Nasir Little, or Hazonia is going to cut it for them. Sacramento, don't forget our young core. I think you look to... I don't like the Barnes contract. I was thinking of something. Like, would the Knicks or Kings both agree that the Knicks would give you pick 20, let's say it's 8 from the Clippers, and we're like, we'll take on the Barnes contract, but if the Kings end up getting, let's say, pick 14, you give us pick 14. So they drop 14 spots, but they get off the bed. Barnes contract in a weak draft. I was just thinking about that. Let me know in the comments. Would the Kings actually do that? I don't know. But I think you look to maybe move Hield. No, I'm not saying definitely move him. I'm just saying see what you could get for him. And then, because there's a lot of good guards in the draft that could maybe play well next to Fox, but you almost made the playoffs last year. Fox was injured this year, so was Bagley. And then I think you just try to make it next year with Holmes coming back. You're going to bring back, or after Holmes broke out, he'll be under contract. You try to bring back Bogey. I think they will. He's restricted. And you just have the best built roster and try to even just get that 8 seed. If you could just make the playoffs, have a home game in Sacramento, it could just be very good. Fox will be a restricted free agent in 2021, so he'll get the rookie max then. Yeah, okay. San Antonio, this isn't the end. So what do we got? 4 more teams. San Antonio, and then what? Utah, Washington, and one other team. I don't know though. But yeah, I think San Antonio, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. You just draft, and then you try to be bad next year. I'm not saying try to be bad, but you might want to be bad next year in the 2021 draft where you can have a better pick. You still try to build around DeJounte Murray. He's kind of your best guy here. And whoever they draft in the lottery this year, Derek White, Lonnie Walker, those guys you try to give the bulk of the minutes next year. I don't know if a team would trade for Aldridge or DeRozan because I think DeRozan will opt in. But if you can, you do it. I think you just rebuild. You got to rebuild. I know what you don't want to, but you got to rebuild. I think in San Antonio. Toronto, that was the other team. Toronto, I think, don't overpay for Fred VanVleet. If a team gives them 20+ million, you don't have to bring him back, definitely. Kyle Lowry will still be under contract next year. I'm sure they could develop another good guard, and you try to lure in Giannis in 2021 or just somebody else if they could do it. I think you bring back Ibaka and Gasol on one-year deals and then just have the most cap flexibility for 2021 as possible and go from there. Utah, I think Mike Conley was very big disappointment, and I was wrong. I thought he was going to be great for them, and then you're looking back on it, oh, maybe they should have went after Malcolm Brogdon or somebody like that. But I think they don't have their first-round pick. Most likely it is, I think, going to go to Memphis, but there might be a protection on it where they keep it. I don't know that off the top of my head, but I don't think you blow it up with Donovan Mitchell or Gobert. Bojan was great this year, and I think you just hope Conley has a bounce-back year next year. I really hope that's what you try to do. Maybe I was thinking, like, just because with OKC, listen, you do Conley a future first for Chris Paul, because Conley, has one more year left on his contract, I think? Or he had a team option this year. But I think they might have already picked that up. But, hey, OKC gets off Chris Paul 2 years early, and they get a first-round pick. Not maybe the end of the world if Utah decides to do that. Washington, the final team here. Beal is one of the game's best offensive players. Wall will be back, and we have an intriguing group of young players to support them. I think Isaac Okoro, Devin Vassell. I think like if they won the lottery and Anthony Edwards, somebody that can play defense like Portland. They need kind of a defensive wing here. Wall is a good defender. He'll be back, but it might take him some time to get used to or acclimated back to where he was a year and a half ago. He hasn't played NBA basketball in a year and a half, and it'll be almost 2 years by then. And then you bring back Davis Bertans. You still have one of the league's best scorers in Bradley Beal. I think Wiseman would also be a great addition to this team, or Kungwu, because Yao Mahim is leaving a free agency. You don't really want to bring him back. And then Thomas Bryant, I think, might be more of a backup center than a starting center, and they still have Mo Wagner there, definitely. But I think if you can get like an Okoro or Vassell or an Kungwu, Wiseman, you do one of those. They're not going to really have cap flexibility, so you just bring back Davis Bertans, and you can have either maybe a Wall, Beal, Hashimura, Bertans, Wiseman / Okongwu in crunch time, or you can have like a Wall, Beal, Okoro, Vassell, Anthony Edwards, Bertans / Hashimura, Bryant lineup in crunch time. But yeah, that was actually a pretty long video. I kind of gave each team's like best offseason plan in my opinion. So yeah, if you did enjoy the video, drop a like and let me know in the comments if you disagree with anything I said or that Kings trade. I was just thinking kind of, or the Chris Paul trade to Utah or the Harrison Barnes to the Knicks trade. Let me know your opinion on those. And like always, thank you all for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.